When some high-pitched noises drew a social media user away from his computer, the man went looking for the cause. What he found struck him as highly unusual, so he took photos of the whole incident and posted them on the internet. As a result, he was rewarded with an avalanche of virtual fame. So, who was the fellow finding sudden popularity? The man of the hour was Imgur user Adam821 from Maryland. It seemed that in November of 2014, he was going about his daily digital business when the odd noises disturbed him. A few weeks back, I was sitting on Imgur with the rest of you when I heard squeaking outside, he wrote. Of course, I had to investigate. The noises led Adam821 outside to a tree where some animals had made their nest. In fact, the creatures were making such a ruckus that at first Adam thought they were fighting, and so he decided to check on them. Under the circumstances, it can't have been easy. According to the post, he had to climb 20 feet to peer inside the nest. Surprisingly, the little fluff balls inside weren't fighting. However, there was something seriously wrong because they were struggling. In fact, Adam must have gotten the shock of his life when he realized what was happening. They were attached at the tail, he wrote. Adam knew that he couldn't just leave the creatures struggling, so he climbed a bit higher to try and help. In fact, he popped the tiny rodents into a convenient bucket. Then he took them out of the tree to see what he could do. It may be hard to tell, but there are 3 squirrels buried in there, the Imgur user wrote. It seems that they made a nest out of insulation and dryer lint in a pine tree, and the sap kind of glued it to them, and them to each other. This strange phenomenon is more commonly known to happen with rats. They're called rat kings, but it occurs similarly with other rodents such as mice and squirrels too. Such occurrences are very, very rare though. In fact, they're so infrequent that the very existence of rat kings was once disputed. In any event, Adam821 felt he had to do something to help these little squirrels. I started pulling some of the insulation off, but it was a slow process. Because the sap from the tree was so thick, it was pulling the hair from their little tails. Those who have encountered rodent kings before can attest to the difficulty of untangling them. For instance, when a squirrel king turned up in Saskatchewan, Canada in 2013, one of the vets who helped untangle the mess told Inquisitor that it wasn't uncommon for squirrels to lose their tails as a result. Just to show how bad the guys were stuck, I picked up a single strand of insulation and these guys followed. There's little official advice in the way of untangling squirrel tails. However, the Imgur user did wear protective gloves and applied some common sense to the situation. So how did he go about untangling the squirrels? I used some warm water and scissors to help get the majority of the sap loose and the insulation off. Believe it or not, the squirrels were really calm throughout the whole process. Yes, whether this was due to fatigue, fright, or because they knew the human was trying to help them, the squirrels behaved well throughout the ordeal, and Adam821 made steady progress until eventually one of them was free. Unfortunately, the other 2 were still stuck. His final secret weapon turned out to be a little bit of dish soap and some gentle pulling. So once they were all free, Adam821 left the little fluff balls in their bucket to let them rest for a while. They probably needed it after what they had been through. While the squirrels were resting, their rescuer took a picture of the mass they had been attached to. In comparison to their size, the tangle removed from the gummed-up animals' tails was massive. Lastly, all that was left was their release back into the wild. It didn't look like it was going to be a problem. I went to pick up the first little guy, and he immediately ran up my arm, over my back, and into the tree behind me, Adam821 explained. The others reacted a little differently, though. The second one went nuts, the poster wrote. I decided to let go of him before he hurt himself. Considering the squirrel's reaction, it's fortunate that Adam821 remembered his protective gloves. And then there was just one release left for the big-hearted hero to make. The last squirrel was a total bro and let me take a few pictures with him, the poster wrote. At which point my niece and accomplice couldn't contain herself. Neither could the rest of the internet. After all, the post had been viewed more than 250,000 times since it appeared on Imgur in November 2014. He was also inundated with praise for his caring and gentle nature. Yes, he finished his squirrel rescuing adventure bright-eyed and bushy-tailed as he shot to viral fame. You're a good man and a beautiful soul, one commenter wrote. May all your days be filled with love, summed up the general mood. Incidentally, the animals in question were red squirrels. As a result of habitat loss and the invasive gray squirrel species, red squirrel numbers have been seeing a major decline in parts of Europe, but their breed might have been hard to identify, judging by the tangle inside the nest. Please share away, people.